What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XCN today, OnyxCoin. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? Let's talk about it here. I want to make sure the mic's on good because the mic was off. I made like an hour's worth of videos, you guys, and XCN was one of them, and I'm just trying to redo it here. So let's get into it, okay? We're at about 2.26 cents now. We had a nice start to this hour, but we've come back a little bit, haven't we? A lot of volume came in. That's a pretty big wick too. We got 23 seconds left in this hour. I'm assuming that that right there was a rejection off of this area of resistance here. So likely we do go lower. If we look at the fibs, we take this low here to this high. We are just inches away, man, from the golden ratio. I would say if this hour, if in the next 7 seconds you can close above that green line, that would encourage me to think that you're not going to go lower. I don't think it's going to happen. And solidified. Boom. So likely what's going to happen is we go to the golden ratio, the 61869, which is at about 2.17 cents to about, what is that there, 2.11 cents, something in that area. It's also possible, whenever you consolidate like this around the 0.5 without hitting the golden ratio, it's pretty common to just tear through the golden ratio and go right to the 786. We've been seeing that a lot lately this cycle with crypto, so don't be surprised at all if we do make a very quick move down to 2 cents. If we even go below that, don't be worried. But my expectation, I'm going to keep it standard, even though I would expect this because that's kind of what's been happening lately. It makes sense on a lower low kind of basis too. What I'm going to call for is just the classic bounce off the golden ratio zone. So I think we go down there, we find support. We're very close here. If we look at the 1 hour time frame, I think we're very close to finding support and moving up. If we look at this back here, okay, higher lows, that's not a straight line. Let's use a straight line. Straight line there, right? Higher lows throughout this whole thing. We've definitely found our low in the RSI. Now the question is, do we find our low in the price? Because here, if you look at this low, actually, let's go all the way back here. The first low that you had was right here on this hour. That was the first low in the RSI. Was that the low? No, you continued to go lower. And you moved up. You went up a little bit, but did you go lower still? Absolutely you did. Whenever you got your next lows in the RSI, it was here. And that was the first peak right there. It was this low. Did you go lower? Yes, you did. Were you near the bottom of this downtrend as a whole? Yes, you were near it. You just had a little bit to go. In fact, if you just waited a day, you would have been back above probably where you would have bought, even if you bought the low there, or even if you bought the high. You know what I mean? 2 days later, you're in the green. 3 days later, you're back in the red. You know what I mean? So it's a volatile thing all on its own. But all I'm trying to say is that this low in the RSI, while it does suggest things are shifting, we still went lower. And it wasn't until we had that second peak, that bullish divergence, that we began to come up higher. Here we have our first tip. Might we return, and I don't think we go lower than this, I don't think we go to the oversold zone, but might we return to this, do a kind of double tap like we did last time, and might that bring in a lower low than this? I think it could. And something a little bit lower is what I would expect. So something between about, I don't know, 2.17 to 2 cents is where we're going to go. We're at 2.246 cents right now. If I'm wrong, then we're about to rip. Don't get me wrong, this RSI does look really good. It does look like we're gearing up to move to the upside. But do we do that now? Do we move sideways a little bit and do that later? If we do this, that could imply that we go down a little bit, right, like it did here. I'm just saying, it's hard to say. I think by the end of the day, we'll know better. But I am pretty certain that by the end of the day, if not by the end of today, by the very beginning of tomorrow, we're going to have the low of this move. Okay, it's going to happen. Unless we've got it already. It's possible that we have it already, but just by the way of the fib, I would think that we do go a little bit lower, just a little bit lower. Not financial advice, not your financial advisor, but I think that it's probably, if you've been waiting to buy, it's probably a good time to get in. If you have XCN, if you've got a lot of XCN and it's your main bag, or it's one of your main bags, you might not be in the need or feeling the pressure to buy right here. If you have no XCN, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think you should start DCAing in. Because while we are expecting it to go lower, and while, yes, you might be able to squeeze that lemon for everything it's got, it could just rip from here, right? It could rip at any given moment. I thought we were going to go lower here. I was calling for lower prices, and we ripped to the upside. Inevitably, it came down. It actually went to those prices that I was calling for, but not in the way that I thought it was going to go. So I'm just saying, instead of playing this emotional game with yourself, just get in. If you're not in, if you're already in, okay, you have the availability, the luxury to wait and be patient because you already have exposure. If it doesn't go lower and you can't add more, who cares? You're making money anyways, right? But if you have none and you want to get into XCN, not financial advice, not your financial advisor, but I think it's at a good price to buy. Even though, yes, I think it's going to go lower because the amount of lower pales in comparison to the amount of upper that it has to go. I do think I do think as of right now that it goes lower. I don't think that that's the low, but I also believe that when we find our low, the recovery back up to this high will be faster than it was, right? Wherever we are, right? If we come all the way down to this base, how long it took to get up here, I think it will be faster the next time around, right? I don't assume it to be slower. It could be, but I'm assuming things are only going to pick up from here, right? We're just getting started. We're turning things around. The readings and the RSIs are only going to get stronger from here. Therefore, the price action should only get stronger as well. We look at the 4-hour RSI. We've freshly broken out of this downtrend. We might be looking to bounce off the 40 here. That would be nice. 3 hours, 55 minutes left. Man, wouldn't it be nice if this was the candle that we found our low on, and then we came back up and we closed right around here, closing at the 40, and then the next candles, we start to move up. We get this bounce off the 40. Man, if we can bounce off of this area, we don't even have to bounce right off the 40. We can go lower. Right here, we bounced right off the 40. Didn't mean anything. Same thing here. Here we bounced off the 40. You got a little bit of growth. To be fair, all these bounces off the 40 are discouraging me a little bit. There you go. This bounce off the 40 took you to the overbought, but you weren't right at the 40. You were a little bit low at that, a little bit below it. That's all I was trying to say. You don't have to bounce right here for it to promote phenomenal growth. But I would assume, being that you broke out of your downtrend, being that you got above the 50, even above the 60 here, I would assume that you get to the overbought zone before you see the oversold zone again. So on a 4-hour aspect, what that's telling me is we really don't have lower to go at all. In fact, the upside is where we should be looking. So what's the upside? Let's look at that, right? From a high to a low, to me, it's very clear that the next target area would either be the 0.5 or the golden ratio. Could we go higher? Sure we could. But I think, a lot of cryptos have been finding resistance at their 0.5, and it's very common for cryptos, for stocks, for everything to find resistance at the golden ratio. If we put lines here, if we put horizontal lines at the 0.5, you can see that there are areas of resistance back here. A little bit of support in that same area. Support here, support, resistance, right? At the 0.5. A lot of cryptos have been finding significance at their 0.5 recently too. We go to the 618, the golden ratio here. Resistance, support, resistance, right? It's somewhat significant areas. And then I put the 6.9 up there because sometimes we do go a little bit higher. But I would think, truthfully, XCN, you're probably on your way to 3 cents to 3.36 cents. If not, maybe at the highest, like 3.6 cents, something like that. And of course, you could go higher. I'm not going to be upset if this thing obliterates my predictions and we just go through the roof. I'm not going to be upset, but likely, as I've been saying since, I don't know, one of these candles over here, likely we're going to have a more methodical approach to interacting with these highs, and then we get explosive, then we get redonkulous once we break the highs, right? That's when these crazy growth moments will happen. At least that's my thoughts. So as of now, 2.2 cents right now, just shy, skimming, but not quite there on this relative golden ratio from the high to low. Wait, is that right? Okay, I was like, we're already through the golden ratio. Here we go, the low here. Skimming it, we're about to hit it. I think that's going to happen today. And then by the end of this week, of which we only have 2 days and 8 hours left, by the end of this week, we really could be, and I would expect that we are above 3 cents. If we're not above 3 cents by the end of this week, this is not broken. The XCN is fine, you guys. It just means that it'll happen at the beginning of next week. It's very fast approaching, but with the way that everything looks on the 1-hour RSI, the 4-hour RSI, and even the daily, and just how the crypto space feels to me as a whole, I wouldn't be surprised at all if by the end of this week we were not just above 3 cents, but above like 3.3 cents. Maybe even above 4 cents, who knows? But I'm sticking with 3 cents as the minimum given target there. So I don't think I have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said everything that I need to say. If you guys like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, okay? No volume on the way down, right? No volume on the way down. But there was volume on the way up. What's that tell you, right? What's that tell you? More pronounced moves, right? People are buying. More methodical moves. This is market makers, right? Bringing the price down to areas of liquidity to have people panic sell, give the exchanges, give the market makers, give people who know what they're doing an opportunity to buy and send this thing, construct it to go higher. It's very obvious to me that this is gonna move up at any given moment, but I do think we have a little bit lower to go. By the time most of you watch this, it probably already achieves its low. That's my thoughts anyways, but hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. We'll make another video on this thing tonight just to see where we're at. Hopefully by the end of today, or hopefully by tonight's video, we're actually above where we are now. That's kind of my expectations. So ta-ta for now, my friends. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.